Good evening, everybody. So first of all, thank you, Sister Irene, for giving me the opportunity to come and share my Purpose to Pain story with your family. It's a huge honor and I'm really grateful. And if you recall, when you first asked me, I was a bit hesitant because I had already said that in 2020 I was going to really be bunkering down and not doing a whole lot of stuff save for pushing out Shirley's book, my new book, Oluwashola, The Purpose of Us, out into the hands of the people. So that I had planned to be my focus for 2020, and I was just going to be a bit still. And I remember when I took this to God in prayer, I asked him, I said, look, see what Sis Irene is asking, what do you think, And his response was very clear. It was like, this is just the next step off of your book. What is the point of you having this story and not being able to share it to, encourage people? You're doing with this interview, with this video, exactly what you're trying to do with the book. So of course it's a close fit. So run, salt, run. And so here I am running. And again, thank you, Sister Irene, and thank you to everybody who's pressed play to watch this video. I'm going to try and share my story. So I'd like to start off with who I was as Salt before my sister passed, because everything, my pain is all built around my sister passing, my great pain. I've been through quite a lot in life, and I thank God that I don't look like what I've been through. But the main pain that pushed me into my purpose today is about my sister dying. So before Shirley, who I'm 12 years older than, by the way, passed away, I was a working mom in Lagos, a working wife and mom. In Lagos, I have 3 children, 26, 23, and 16. And I was working and writing and publishing books. And in my mind, my voice was being expressed through the books that I was writing. First of all, through my blog. I started blogging as the Desperate Niger Woman. My blog was titled The Diary of a Desperate Niger Woman. And eventually, through a key life incident, I transformed to Salt through the voice of God. I called myself the Desperate Niger Woman because I believed I'm desperate to be like Jesus Christ, and I was a Nigerian woman. So that was a name that I gave myself, but I experienced something really catastrophic personally, and I was going to write myself off completely. But looking back now, I just see that everything was a piece of a puzzle. But anyway, in 2011, I stopped writing, basically, after this incident. And I had said to myself, no more. Mind you, I started blogging and writing in 2009. And then in 2011, this incident happened. And then I said to God, it's over, I'm done. But he called me back, as God always does. He called me back and he was like, no, you're not done. No, you're not trash. You're Salt. And you're going to go back out there in 2012 and you're going to continue the errands that I've given you. So I came back in 2012 as Salt, and my blog was then called The Salt Chronicles. So that is kind of like where I was. That was all I was doing. I was working. I was a mom raising my children, going to work full time, and then blogging and publishing books. And that was really it, Now, here comes December 2016. My sister, who I raised basically as my first child, because our mother passed on when she was about to be 6 years old, and I was going to be 18. And my mom passed on, and I've raised this child until she became a full-grown woman. And at this point, I figured, done, Shirley is in good hands, she's married, and all is well. I was blindsided on December 28, 2016. I got the phone call that totally changed my life, from her husband, a Polish guy who she'd met in Poland, where she'd gone to school, and he was telling me that my sister had passed on. I will not bore you with all the details of all that happened, in the back and forth, trying to get the real story of what happened to my sister. Until this moment, nobody really knows the truth. So first of all, somewhere in the beginning of the video, you're going to hear me referring to my new book as Oluwashola, The Purpose of Us. It's actually Oluwashola, The Story of Us. So how did God walk me through? How has he been walking me through this, my pain, into purpose? I don't think I'm going to get to that place where I will wake up and say, I'm pain free. That's not possible, right? But Shirley lives. There's no doubt that I think one of the first things I wanted to do was to remove her from the darkness of the story of how she passed on. And that was kind of like what was uppermost in my mind. But in terms of the process that God took me through, it first of all took me wanting to do it God's way. So if you're going through any kind of pain, you really have to relax yourself into Him and let Him guide you. You have to be intentional about obeying, even when it doesn't make sense. So the first thing God did to help me was, He was like, okay, you know what? You haven't been able to say goodbye to Shirley because of all that has happened. So in this period of, that was February of 2017, first of all, let's give Shirley a befitting farewell service. So God occupied me with the plans of how to do that. He told me how to approach my church, because she wasn't really a member of my church and she's a sibling, not a parent. So all the approvals of having to get the church to hold the service of songs for us, all the plans, I really let God lead me step by step, and because of that, I found favor with all the people that I needed to find favor with. So we held that service on the 22nd of February in 2017, and again, another waiver was given to us to have an online service as well, so people who were not in the church could participate. And because of that, we actually have a video of that whole service in our archives, which for me is a huge blessing. And so after that service held, I still needed to get to the bottom of this. I had petitioned every level of government, from our president down to the National Assembly, even to the president of Poland and the highest person in their own police force over there. I had even traveled to Abuja to go see the ambassador. I was trying to get a quick visa and all, but then at some point God had to arrest me and say, Auntie, it's enough. And I think He did this because I was doing all this advocating and running around from that February all the way to July. And then I attended the Return of the Helper conference, a prayer conference that is convened by Bidemi Makmodi. And it was at that conference that I was weeping under the table, crying unto God that, what's going on? Are you not going to let me know what happened to Shirley, so I would never know and never get to the bottom of this? And it was just like a me sub story. Even though in my mind I was advocating for my family, I was advocating for Shirley. I wanted justice for her. I thought that was a mantra, justice for Shirley. And God said, Salt, get over yourself. Get up off of this floor and go out there and put your mind on other people who may be going through the same thing that you're going through and help them figure it out. You don't have to have the solutions, but bring people together who are dealing with the same kind of grief that you are going through and give them a safe space to express it. Because what I found in our culture is that, and because we're Christians, when we do faith, we think faith is not admitting that we're in pain, or faith is not expressing that pain. So I felt caged, that people didn't want me to cry anymore. Like Shirley would want, and I was like, no. So I understood what God was saying. I wanted to, as He led me, create a space where people could now come and express their grief. And that was how we gave birth to the Shirley Rising events. It actually became the Shirley Rising events because the first event that we organized was themed Sinking in Grief Yet Rising with Purpose. We held that in September 2017. It was our first one. I still remember the speakers, Gose, Leila St. Matthew Daniel, Coach Olushola, and it was really good. And I remember Coach Olushola saying to the audience that this is just crazy. He's never seen anyone who would have this crazy idea to be put together to talk about grief as one step towards the healing. And that was how we gave birth to the Rising events. So we've had 3 so far. The 2018 Rising was titled Still I Rise. It was about no matter what you're going through, still I rise up. Still I rise up. And the last one we had just in 2019 September. What was the theme again of that one? Sometimes I forget the themes, forgive me, but in the comments I'll put the themes there. It just shows you that I'm just doing this video just naturally. I have no script and all. But if the theme comes to me, or if you were there, please, what was the theme of the 2019 Rising? Well, they're all about rising up, and our theme song is actually Andra Day's song, Rise Up. Some of you may know it, and if I can find a way to put that in the background of this video, I will do that. So the rising events were birthed that way, and then in line with how God was working with me in 2019, he began to walk me through the process of forgiving Shola's husband. This was hard, guys. Oh my gosh. The day that God spoke to me and was like, you know what, for your healing to be complete, for your healing to move forward, you need to let go of this guy and his family. This is a guy that I had been cursing. I won't even lie. I had been praying like dangerous prayers against him and his mom and his sisters for what they had done to my sister. And here was God asking me to forgive them. But I had to obey God, because that's the whole point of who I am, you know, and I had to walk in love with him. And through that process of him telling me that, he now birthed the idea of a new event, a sub-event, which we titled the Surely Love Talks. So it was all about coming together and talking about how to walk in love even through your pain. And we had 2 of those kind of events. One we had in March, but then the second one was in July. They came to speak on how to walk in love no matter what, because that was how God was using my situation to bring people out to a place where they could admit they've been hurt by people, but decide that God was bigger in their lives. And so if God says to walk in love with even your enemies and those who hurt you, we were going to do that. So that was another thing that God birthed out of my pain. So first of all was the Rising Talks. Then we had the Surely Love Talks. And then Surely's book, Oluwashola, The Story of Us. So Oluwashola, The Story of Us is a book that I wrote, and it was birthed in my heart because I think God knew that one of the things that pained me the most was the fact that I had so much I had hoped. I had so much I really wanted to share with Shirley, but I think in the arrogant way that we almost all are, we always think that you have time, but you don't really. So this book is a long letter to Shirley, mostly, and it's me telling her all the things I wish I had had time to gist with her about. But I think God, apart from that, it was also kind of like a redemption for me, in terms of it assuaged the guilt I felt as a big sister and mom. She used to call me her mom. You know, she was my aburo sis, and I was her Edward mom. You know, I was her sister mom, and she was my sister child. And that's the way we saw her. So it was the book writing it has helped me to heal a lot. And that's another way God has brought purpose out of the pain of losing Shola, is that he has used that to even heal me of other things in my life, you know, that I had kept hidden so deep inside of me that I didn't even know how heavy they were weighing on me until the day I sent off the manuscript for the book to be published. So yeah, guys, I think in the time that I've been given, I pray that I've been able to walk you through how God has helped me to navigate my pain and bring purpose out of it. No matter what situation that we've gone through or are going through, God can mine gold out of it. There is no part of our lives that cannot be used to the glory of God. There is no part of our lives that cannot be used to the edification of his people. There is nothing I find that you and I are going through that is just purely about us. Many times the devil lets us think it's all about us. No. Most of what we're going through is to give us the authenticity that we need to share it forward, to help somebody coming after us, because we've been through it. So it will no longer be just theory. You have lived through that thing, because somebody coming behind you is going to need your help in going through the same thing. And you would have the knowledge and the information and the experience, and most importantly, you will have the personal authenticity to speak to that person in that situation. And that is what I think God has been helping me do through 2017 to date. But again, thank God we don't look like what we've been through, right? And that can only be the grace of God. So I look forward to your questions and your comments after listening, watching the video. And again, Sister Irene, thank you so much for having me on your platform. And it's my prayer that everybody here will continue to bring purpose, to bring gold out of whatever painful situation you have been through or you are going through now. Remember that God has got you. Remember that God loves you so much. Stay lifted and hold fast to your saltiness. Bye.